What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the 1216 podcast, joined by your host 12 today. We're going to get into another tier list. I love doing these tier lists. I get to open up a little bit more about just my passion for whatever anime I'm doing or current event that I'm doing with it. And you guys get a little bit more of an insight what it is for me. But as you guys can tell by the title of the video down below, this is a tier list based off the arcs in one. Let's get it on. Cool. So starting off, we have the East Blue arc. We all know how that arc was, from meeting Zoro and finding Nami, getting with Usopp, and then picking up Sanji at the Baratier, and then the famous walk. The Straw Hat Pirates came out with some fire behind them, I would say, for the most part. And we got to get introduced to the crew, like the entirety of the crew. Well, not the entirety of the crew, but we got to get introduced to the start of the crew, the main supporting cast that's been with us the longest. From, like I said, the characters that we have so far, up before we get to Reverse Mountain. East Blue was such a good arc to me. Because it opened up the story with it. We got hit. I think we got hit with a lot of things in East Blue. We got to see Shanks's arm get taken off at the beginning of the East Blue. We got to see Alvida get punched in the face and Kobe set free to start his journey as a Marine. We got to see Zoro's never-ending quest to just devote himself to becoming the true swordsman, the number one swordsman in the world for his captain. We got Usopp setting out to be a great adventurer. Nami getting able to start for her. She's already doing it with Arlong drawing a map, but this is like the very start for her to doing it on her own free will, and navigating the crew as she does so perfectly. And then, of course, we got to see Sanji set out sail for his all blue purpose. And then last but not least, we have the main character of the story, Monkey D. Luffy, setting out to be king of the pirates, and it all started in the East Blue. The East Blue set up a lot of things. We introduced the Buggy from when he first started off with us. This was the arc that started my passion for One Piece. I have to throw this arc at an A tier though. The best scene from the East Blue is obviously the famous walk when we have the four guys, Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, and Luffy walking up to Arlong Park to take on Arlong in order to free Nami, which is amazing by itself. But I don't think I can put this any higher than an A tier. Up next, we have Drum Island. Drum Island is when we get introduced to Chopper, of course. We get the lovely rose petal, the cherry blossom petals that shot out of the cannon. We get Chopper's backstory, how he was always hated by people when humans always despised him, and then his own kind even despised him. Chopper is one of my favorite characters, part of the Straw Hat, because of his love and compassion for others. He's probably top 10. But no, in all seriousness, interesting Chopper. We got to save Nami, of course. We got introduced to the Baroque works during this arc as well, coming from Little Garden. We got introduced to some of the Elbaf giants with Dorian Bragi. We got introduced to Mr. Two, aka Bon Clay, and it was just a beautiful arc. I could watch it over and over and over, but this would be a B tier for me. I'm keeping it a B tier only because, sure, it was great to see. We have him up there. Chopper joins the crew. Nami gets saved, but come on now, this arc isn't over East Blue, and it's not an A tier with it. So I'm gonna say a solid B. Then we have Baroque Works. Baroque Works is obviously, I'm putting it in front of the East Blue arc, if it lets me. At A tier, off back, because Baroque Works is when we get introduced to the Logia types. We got to see Ace come up there, of course. We got to see Princess Vivi and just her passion behind actually being a member. And we got to see Luffy really show his passion for protecting his friends and wanted to protect his Nakama, because when he punched Vivi back, I know everybody lost their stuff, but that punch to Vivi really solidified that he would go above and beyond for his crew or members that should be a part of the crew that he wants to be a part of there. Uh, I really hope Vivi joins one day. I know she probably won't because of what's going on right now, especially inside the manga. But I know we're going to see her again soon. I can't wait for the manga to start back up. No spoilers. I'm gonna try to stay away from spoilers, but if you guys read, let me know in the comments below. The Works was just pure perfection. We got Robin that comes onto the crew. It's not an S tier for me just yet. I'm saving S tiers for actually the Work arc was an S tier for me. It's hard not to put it at S tier. Um, the famous, you know, when you come back, can I ride your ship with you? The X on the arms, Zoro and Luffy fighting one another because of a miscommunication. Just this arc shows a lot of growth that just started to happen from Oda himself, like the way he was writing it and the characters and the connections. This arc, I believe, starts off with a lot of hitting gems for later on down the line that he connects back to it. Of course, they all connect back to something eventually, but just how beautifully written this arc was, and just how much we got to see the passion from the crew to protect the Nakama that was all there. Um, it was pure genius. Plus, come on now, you got to see Fire Fist Ace take out five battleships by himself from the Broke Works with one Fire Fist. Dog, like this arc was amazing. Up next, we have Skypiea. Skypiea is a great arc. It's my favorite arc in all of One Piece, but it's behind East Blue and A tier, based off just some of the stuff that's left out inside of it. Sure, we have connections everywhere. We get Nolan the Liar inside there, his backstory and how he goes up to Shandori. We have my favorite villain inside here with Enel. Just sheer beauty with it. But to be beat by a guy due to technicality of him being made out of rubber, um, come on now. Like you could have made a nail is a waste of a talent. We all know if you read the manga, he does have a little small arc of what went on the moon when he landed up there and found some people that were inhabited it and then became the god of the moon with his little minions that he had running around with him. Super cool. If you didn't, go back and check it out. Those panels are funny. It's just the cover title and it's not canon. It's just like cover title fun that Oda does whenever he's writing it out. But I enjoy Skypiea a lot. This is where we really get introduced to Matara or hockey being used in different forms. Observation hockey is there, of course. We didn't get too much of armament hockey doing this. If we did, then Anel wouldn't have been going out doing this thing. But we did get introduced, kind of like to how what Baroque works in that arc, the Alabasta arc. Luffy punches Crocodile with water on him as his weakness. We got to see another arc where just his weakness was just a natural element for another Logia type user. But this arc takes the cake for me. I love it a lot. I won't put it above East Blue because East Blue is the start arc that caught my attention in general. But I love it to death. Up next, we have Afro Luffy in the Davy back fights. Davy back fights were this was sheer beauty. It's not an S tier or A tier for me. It's between low B or high C for me. I put it at high C for right now, only because it was an arc that didn't have to be inside there. Like Foxy was amazing. I love the slow beam. The little Chopper with the goggle with the mask on him when they captured Chopper, like that was just fun to watch. Of course, Sanji and Zoro having to fight the two gorillas at a disadvantage, mind you, and still overcoming and winning by putting his head through the hole with the mini games in order to win Chopper back. Like this arc was fun. They lost Robin inside there, and Robin and Chopper are sitting there together playing around. Um, the Davy back fights were fun, and I think they did this arc set up like a hidden gem for like not arc, but like this. It's not really an arc, but like a segment, what it is, whatnot. This non-canon series set up probably ideas inside my head of how piracy was back then. Davy back fights that happened back then with Davy Jones and just how they incorporated everything and went by it. But if you guys haven't seen the Davy back stuff, please go watch it. It's hilarious. You get a kick out of it. I love it to death. Then we have our next S tier with Water 7, which is behind Baroque Works inside my opinion. But Water 7, we get introduced to CP0, CP9 agents that were coming around with the fights that was going on. We got to see Soka King come out and just how I love how this arc started off with us losing the Mary. As a matter of fact, this is high tier for me. It's above Baroque Work for sure. The Going Mary, her grave was this arc, and I think they did this so perfect. Like, of course, Oda has a thing when people fall down steps, so we get to see Robin fall down steps and she's tumbling down. Um, we get to see a lot of funny stuff inside there. But this arc, like the overall theme of it to me was just Robin became free as we had to lay the Going Mary to rest and pick up the greatest shipwright in the world, Frankie, aka Kali Flem. Like, this arc was sheer beauty. The speech from Zoro telling reminding Luffy what it means to be captain. Like, that's something right there that stuck with it sticks with you to this day. Like you and you got if you guys seen the other tier list, you know how I feel about Zoro. It's one of my favorite characters. You see me going around cosplaying as Zoro a lot. I got my three sword style right next to me. But Zoro just embodied what it meant to be that first mate, and truly he knew what it means to be the captain of the ship. And Luffy found out what it means to be the captain of the ship as well. Like, he sat there, he stood his ground with it. He didn't try to go against what Zoro was saying because he was speaking. He didn't try to go against what Zoro was saying because he was spitting facts. This arc set up Zoan types in a way that can be controlled. We see Chopper having his monstrous moment when he goes Monster Chopper, and that was amazing and all. But you see, Kaku with the Kaku with the giraffe, and then we see Lucci with the cheetah. Like, those were amazing fruit, and they just got their fruits. During that arc, they got their fruit, and used them during that arc. Like, Kaku wasn't a giraffe before then, and we didn't have Slippery Slope with what's her name inside there as well. So they got their fruit during that arc and used their powers wisely. Like, that was pretty cool to see. This entire arc was set up to just take us to that next level of One Piece greatness that Oda wanted us to get inside, and he did that. Up next, we have Thriller Bark, right above East Blue for me, in my opinion. Thriller Bark is a great. Like, this was set up so perfectly with it. We got to see the oncoming of Brook. This arc. If you know, you know. In this arc, nothing happened, and that's why it's A tier for me. Saba Odi Archipelago, when Rayleigh was just getting to know the Straw Hats and really pushed them towards being better than themselves. The Saba Odi one, we got to see the supernovas come out and just show off their strength. Of course, the famous the famous punch to Charlos. We see the hatred towards fishmen inside this. They show us how slave trade works and how auctioning off human humans work, and just it this arc set up a lot of real life concepts that I think we can all look at. Like, okay, you're talking your shit right now. But at the end of the day, we got to see the crew realize that they were too weak to do anything in the new world. It took them a few, but this arc really put it over the top. Like, hey, we're too weak. We need to train. Right before their training arc, the 2 year time skip, this was that arc that set it all up. And because of that, this is my number one S tier for right now. This arc set up what it meant to be overpowering in a new world and needing to get that strength and conditioning, just that sheer brute. Like, you're not Saitama. Like, you can't just come in here and one punch somebody and be done with. Like, no, you're going to get your ass beat in the new world, and this is why. It was set up so beautiful. Like, this arc was just, it was perfect, which led to one of my favorite arcs, of course, the Summit War arc, which would go right behind right behind Water 7 for me. As a it's a high A for me. Summit War, high A for me. We lost Ace, of course. Um, which sucked. We did all of that training, went through Impel Down, talked to the Kuja pirates. Um, on Amazon Lily, we got involved with the Revolutionary Army's second in command, or what, one of their chief commanders from the Revolutionary Army. At the time, he probably was second in command at the time. And then Sabo took over that rank. Um, yeah, I want to say, I want to say that Ivankov was second in command during this arc up until, or at least, he was top three for sure. The Summit War was just pure beauty. Like, we got to see an all-out brawl on both ends. We got Sakazuki going out there and being just the devious person he is, as he, tricks people, like Spider, into telling him, oh, Whitebeard really isn't your family. He started out this war just to save Ace and kill you, get you all killed and get out of there scot free. But that's not it that happened at all. We got to see betrayal happen. He stabbed him. We got to see the pure trust that Whitebeard put inside the main protagonist, Luffy. Just as he's seeing, like, hey, go back up Ace's brother, because Luffy stood his ground to a 30-foot giant and said, I'm going to be king of the pirates. And he showed that grit, and he meant that. And whether or not Blackbeard Pirates sat there and helped him out, he was going to save his brother Ace without their help trying to, or he's going to die trying. Like, Luffy took off. He stood in front of the three admirals. We got one of the best scenes inside there when Jinbei threw him up there and he came down, landed with the log, and he's water all around him, and it's just dripping down everywhere. And it's the three admirals. We got Kuzan, Sakazuki, and Kizaru up there, and it's just like all out stalemate. And then that's when the backup comes in, the Whitebeard Pirates. This arc set up a lot. We got to see Magellan earlier. This was the sacrifice that Bon Clay made during his arc, which Bon Clay might be in jail and not dead. So I'm hoping that he is in jail and survived the poison and is the new queen of the Kamabuki prisoners. But oh my gosh, this arc did it for me. It's I want to put it at S tier, but because this arc did set up it set a lot of things up into motion, of course. But you let Ace die nonetheless. Like, your job was a failure. You failed to win the war during this part. Like, sure, you saved Ace, but you lost him right after. You lost Whitebeard. You lost lots of different pirates, some unknown, definitely. We got to see, of course, the seven warlords that was inside the arc, and even some of the emperors like Shanks popped up. at the end of it, just to stop everything when I came when Akainu was finna punch Magma Fist right through Kobe and just said, if you guys want to go, we can go. If you anybody who's here ready, the Marines, the Whitebeard fleet, um, Blackbeard and his crew, like any, and this was Blackbeard when he got the Tremor fruit. Like once he got that fruit, Shank showed up and stopped everything. And Blackbeard, all he could say was, "I'm not ready for you. I don't want to do this." We got to see Sengoku come down and fully stop everything after stopping Garp from ripping off Akainu's head, which would have happened, sure. I'm glad we didn't see any power from Garp up until what we see from the manga, and it's worth it. Yeah, this Summer War was amazing. I love this arc, but it's just not S tier for me because of the fact that you did fail. I know you had to at one point lose everything. Okay, I do like this. I do one better. It's a low S tier for me because my high A tier would be Fishman Island. So low S tier, I'll take Summit War. I was, as you can see, I was conflicted with it going back and forth anyway. But I like this spot right here for it because Fishman Island comes in at a high A, just off of we get to see the poneglyphs again, what they mean, Princess Shirahoshi, Princess Shirahoshi. Not saying like that, but if you know, you know. We got to see just how Weepy Hoshi um is Poseidon. She's the person who's going to rule all of the sea creatures one day when she gets control over her full powers. We got to see the vision that was being made by Merlin. It wasn't. Her name is not Merlin, but I always call her Merlin because she looks just like Merlin. She had purple on, the long black hair, and the orb of truth. Just like Merlin from Seven Deadly Sins. But I digress. What she said was that it'd be a pirate that comes here with a straw hat and sets fire towards the islands, and they thought that he was going to be the one who was the downfall. When in reality, he's the one who came down there and saved them. We got to see the 2 year time skip pay off full effect at the beginning of this arc, as Luffy with trained hockey took out 50,000. Was it 50,000 or 5,000? It was one or the other. Um, it, Probably 50,000. It's because he got half of it for the most part. It's either a total of 100,000 or a total of 10,000. But he took out half of the fishermen that was down there against him, and we got to see Zoro just how the 2 year time skip did justice, and Zoro had no competition for him. Zoro literally could have ended this arc if he had breath when he was going against Hordy underwater. Hordy was going should have been dead because of Zoro. Zoro should have been the reason why Zoro should have ended everything right there. Of course, we see Sanji's dumbass out of commission for most of the arc because it's his first time back around females and he doesn't know how to act. And he's losing a lot of blood, and then he has to get a blood transfusion. But it was just pure. It was this arc was set up so beautifully. I said it a lot about a lot of these arcs, but it gets better and better as you go. Like Oda is a god genius for a reason, and he created the best show ever. Like this show was amazing, but Fishman Island, pure beauty of the arc. We got to see mermaids being real. I know we got introduced to mermaids back in Water 7 with Grandma Kogura, because she was a mermaid, and I remember Sanji picturing inside his head. Um, and he got thrown off by the fact of the end of it. Princess in Water 7 at the end of it, she comes around and she's in the water with them, and it's actually a good scene. But Fishman Island sets up a lot. That we get from Kami being back down there now. Kami is the one who was kidnapped and trying to get sold as a slave back to Charlos at Water Seven at the Sub Odi arc. Fishman Island was like that, and I actually enjoyed it a lot. Next, we have Punk Hazard. We get introduced to the Surgeon of Death himself, Fargo D. Waterlaw. Um, is in full effect, and off back. This is a high A tier behind Fishman Island to me. I loved it a lot. We got to see some feats from just how big a punk, how the scientists work. That's in One Piece, and just how sometimes they do things just to do it because they've been told to do it. But Caesar Clown, we get introduced to the smile fruits inside this arc. Smile fruits are obviously fruits, fake replicas of actual devil fruits. Um, we get to see the treatment that he's doing. He's growing giant children by giving them candy over and over, and these kids are going from small kids to giants. He's trying to create a giant army by keeping them there in a playroom, of course. Momonosuke came there, the great Momonosuke. We got to see so much throughout this arc, and this arc just it didn't let down for me. Like this arc is up there with Fishman Island as a high A for a reason. Like this arc was really that cold. Um, I enjoyed this arc so much. Like it's crazy to think that um we got to understand just how devil fruits and hockey works a little bit more, with Law being able to use his hockey in his room, not his croom, but his room to cut up Virgo. We got to see the sacrifice of Monette and how she blew up everything, which is another confirmed death that happened early on inside the series. Wasn't a whole lot of deaths, but we do get that as well. This arc was complete. It was a complete arc. I like the fact that we got the dragons inside there. We Kimimon inside there. It was just a complete arc. And I'm gonna do something I don't want to do. Um, I see how I'm going with the list so far. I'm gonna move Skypiea down to be right in front of Drum Island at a B tier, which I would, in my opinion, it's an A tier. But I can't be biased doing this video. I'm just looking around at it and just I can't compare Skypiea to these arcs at all. It's if you know, you know. Especially Thriller Bark arc where we got to see Dark Luffy and Baby Oars, but nothing happened. Up next, we have the Dressrosa arc. Dressrosa was amazing. This arc comes right after Punk Hazard, with the Smile Fruits and another person who works for Kaido, Doflamingo. We got to see the backstory for Law and how him and Corazon were connected. The Great Corazon gave Law the Op fruit, and this arc showed this arc set Law free for me. This was the arc right here that kind of like we have for just small examples, we have Vivi been set free of the crocodile's rule. Um, we have a, a bunch of different things going inside there. Fishman Island with Shirahoshi been set free from the clutches of the guy with the glove that touches her and throws things at her because that's her. He thinks that's her his bride to be. Um, how Nami got set free from Long Park, or how Brooke got the closure he needed from Laboon. This arc did that for me, for Law, and not just Law, but also it uplifted my spirits again, because we got to see the flame fruit, the murder no me, be put back into the hands of one of Luffy's brothers, the second in command right now during the arc, of course. Moving forward, like I said, Ivankov was there doing one of the previous arc of the Summit War, but I'm pretty sure after that 2 year time skip, Sabo took over that realm and became the man. And for that, like Dressrosa is a I love Sabo. I would get hate for that a lot. Sabo's not there with Ace for me, but I love that he's carrying on Ace's wheel. Um, this arc is gonna go as an S tier for me as well. Right behind the Summit War. Dressrosa was just done correctly. I love the tournament style that we had going on, and how Rebecca got her dad back normal, aka the soldier who you see right here on the picture for it. It was just set up so lovely. Like I love this arc. It was really like that. And then we have Zoe. Zoe was a great arc. We're introduced to the minks, and minks are just animals that are able to talk, and have Sulong forms they're able to go into if trained up to that point. But Zoe was pretty cool. We got to see, of course, um, the connection piece that Zoe will make and through the rest of Wano, and how Zoe was connected to Joy Boy instead of a way. Um, it was this arc set up a lot of questions. I would say for most people, but also gave us a lot of fun, memorable moments, like them climbing up with Conjuro's drawing abilities, climbing up the side of Zoe, trying to get away. It was a lot of fun watching this arc, and this arc for me was kind of like Skypiea in a way. I'm not gonna put it above Skypiea, but I'll put it in between as a B tier. Skypiea was pretty cool. Same with Zoe, and this Zoe gave me Skypiea vibes. Um, but yeah, really cool stuff happened inside there, and I mean, you gotta watch it. You have to watch it. I made the connections. If you read, you read. If you know, you know about the D. So just know. Up next, we have Whole Cake. Whole Cake set off one of the best performances, set up a fight between the protagonist and the antagonist, Luffy versus Katakuri. This fight was amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and put it right behind, right, mm, right in front of as a high S tier for me, because this arc showed, of course, we had people that left off. It showed the passion that Sanji would go through. We kind of got the same vibes. Sanji telling them, Robin, hey, we're here for you back in Water 7. And then he does the same shit. He leaves the crew because he thinks that the crew won't be protected unless he has it. The only difference is that Robin was doing it because of the world government, Sanji because of the Emperor of the Sea, Big Mom. I get it. I 100% get it. If Zoro found out about this, like Zoro would have beat the shit out of Sanji. Now it's more of a draw, but with Zoro having a little bit of leverage over it. In my book, I'm a Zoro guy, so I can't have Sanji beating Zoro now. Come on, now, let's get serious. But it set up a lot. This arc was um, pure comedy for me because we got to see the homies that were made by Big Mom. Big Mom, of course, is amazing with it. She did her thing with setting up a lot of the homies that came out, which is her ability, life or death. She takes the soul out of one thing, puts it into a soul of an inanimate object, and turns it real. Kind of like what we just seen inside Wano. If you guys are caught up, she put took her soul out, put it inside her broken arm to fix it, and turned her bones into homies. I wonder if they go back to normal though. But Whole Cake set up some great stuff. We got to see Pedro's sacrifice. Um, Not the same sacrifice as Bon Clay, but very similar due to the explosion of it, and just how he protected to let the Straw Hat Pirates set free to go towards Wano. Like it was set up so great. I enjoyed the arc a lot. The fight between Sanji and Luffy at the beginning, and how Luffy stood his ground, and instead of saying what he did with when Usopp wanted to leave the crew and fighting him, he told him that you're the only one who food I would eat until you come back. I'll be sitting here, whether it was rain, whether it was too hot, whether it was nighttime. Luffy sat there in that place until Sanji came back for him. And we also got to see Sanji's family, Germa Double Sixes. And with the German double sixes, we see Sanji's backstory, how he was enslaved as a kid and locked away in a dungeon. He was just a kid who wanted to create food, like his for a pet rat. His mom always told him that, you have a kind heart. You're not like the rest of them. And I'm pretty sure she held on just a little bit longer for Sanji to make sure that he didn't get that by that I'm pretty sure that she was giving Sanji some type of medicine that held off his conversion into a cyborg. All of Sanji's siblings all have some type of but they're all cyborgs. And they're all German 66s as well, and they even have they're based off of an in show superhero team like the Power Rangers. That even Law talked about, like, oh my, like Law was tweaking out, like he was super geeked to see that Stealth Black is here, like doing Wano when Sanji transformed. He was like, oh wow, like you're still like, wait a minute, these are just and you can tell he was pretty cool with it. But yeah, this arc was pretty cool. I enjoyed it a lot. Whole Cake set up to be a great arc. I love Big Mom and just how she snapped and everything, but the fact that it only took you to just punch somebody that you ate, like you punched a picture of this person, and then that somebody you ate who's supposed to be the person who raised you, then you go into a complete mental breakdown. Like that was funny to me. This arc had a lot of comedy behind it. Check it out if you haven't. I'll keep it as my highest S tier for right now, and move on to the Reverie. In Reverie, we got to see, of course, um, the new silhouette for an Admiral. Um, Spoiler: Admiral Green Bull and Fujitora were having a talk, sit down with it, and then they went into it from there. Like Ryu, like we got to see Shanks or Shanks's twin or brother or member of his family, the Figure Island family, um, talk to them, which brought up the biggest mystery in all of One Piece that everybody couldn't do nothing but talk about. The Reverie arc was pretty cool, solid. Not the best of things, but I'll have it as a solid C tier, high C for me. And then that was pretty much the arc. Like we didn't get a whole lot behind it, but I mean, it is what it is. We got information. And information is always a great thing when it comes to One Piece if you pay attention closely to it. And finally, we have Wano, which is my number one S tier arc. Up here, Wano is even in the manga, it felt like it was incomplete, and it felt like some things should have been changed throughout the manga, especially some deaths. But Wano as a whole was probably the longest arc that we had. It's over, let's say it's a 4 to 5 year span that we had with it so far. Like Wano is just completely crazy to be this long, but it's that good. It feels like we've been in Wano, but we've been in three different parts of Wano. We've been inside of the countryside, the prison, and now Onigashima. Um, so if it gives you what we want. Like a complete Wano is high S tier for me, not one. But anime, it's a high S tier. Outside of manga, just because of what it gives us. It gives us the beauty behind just what it really means to want to become the strongest at your abilities and be there for your captain. Like we got to see the Straw Hat Pirates dig deep inside them, and come out on some big victories. Wano was complete. Wano was such a complete arc. We see the laughter, we see the joy, we see the sadness, we see the smile fruits, being the full effect again after being destroyed. At the island of Punk Hazard, we see Killer, Kid, Law, Luffy, and Zoro all doing a Supernova 5 team up against two Yonkos. We see the power that of the Shinobu and just how she transformed and aged using her ninjutsu. She aged Momonosuke to be an adult. That way he can actually turn into a full-fledged dragon. Like this arc has it all. We have the Conjuro's sneak attack when he trades and tells them who he really is. He's an actor, and everything was him acting. Ever since we got introduced to him doing Punk Hazard, the arc was just perfect. Like I said before, we got to see Stealth Black come inside here. Sanji with the happy punch. Oh, I would have done the same exact thing if we got to see Robin and if we got to see Robin and Nami like that inside that bathhouse. Like I would have had a happy punch myself. We got introduced to Yamato. Oh my gosh, Yamato. Um, if you know, you know Yamato. It you you can't go wrong with this arc. It was such a beautiful. It's such a beautifully drawn arc and explained a lot of things with it. Plus, at the end of the arc, you all know what happened. If you read, you read, and you know who pops up. Timothy himself. Like no spoilers, but yeah, like this arc was raw as shit for a reason. And we're getting so close to Gear 5 now. Sometime soon in July, mid to late July, we're going to get Gear 5. I cannot wait for it to happen. But this is my whole tier list that we have up here. I have a lot more S tiers than I thought I would. I was trying not to be biased or anything like that. I even moved my favorite arc down to B tier. But this is not me being biased. This is me looking at the arcs as a whole and being a complete arc. Um, 12 brings to you a non-biased judgment of his arcs as a tier list. And we'll see you next time on the 1216 podcast with more to come as we always bring you the best content. Please stop by, stop in the comments, say hello. Grab some merch from the 1216 Grand Fleet website if you can. We got special reviews. We got special reveals coming for you guys real soon. We out.